Are we live?
We are live. Okay, so start of the show.
Where common sense fails. Again, The Extra Show. With your hosts, Chris and Steve.
Boom. How are you doing, Steve?
Oh, hello there, Christopher.
You all right?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I think this is a long time coming, this.
Well, so, yeah, listeners, we haven't done one of these for a good few weeks. What with me being out of the country and just things getting in the way, we are now on the 18th of November.
Yes.
2025.
Are you feeling Christmassy yet, Chris?
Nope. Do you know, I was in the hospital yesterday because I get lovely for my listeners to hear that I get my eyes injected every few weeks, and so I was in the hospital and I just said, "Oh, where are the Christmas trees?" And they were like, "Oh my God, yeah, we're going to get them out before the end of this week." I'm like, "No, I was only kidding, right? I was only kidding because Christmas seems to get sort of sooner and sooner, right? And for me, that kind of just devalues it a little bit.
It does for me. Well, my birthday is on the 28th of November.
Oh.
And
no, so he drops that in.
It is
He's dropping that in, right? Oh, it's a week to go, Chris. It's my birthday.
Well, I'm fully adamant that nothing Christmassy happens till after my birthday. So my little boy, who's nearly 5,
yeah,
he keeps saying to me, "When are we putting the tree up? When are we putting the tree up, Daddy?" And I'm like, "Nope, not till after my birthday."
Yeah. Keep going.
That's like the last sort of barricade before the Christmas nutters all start descending in.
Well, do you think, when people have got their Christmas trees up in November, it just seems to, because then by the time Christmas actually comes, it doesn't feel special. It's like you've heard Last Christmas and everything else. God knows how many times in the shops.
I know, isn't it? It is funny the way people start so early. I mean, down our road at the moment, there's a few houses that have literally fully lit up.
Like fully?
Like fully lit up outside, full on blown up Santa Claus outside.
I saw something on the news the other day where there's this couple in, I don't even know exactly where it was, but oh my God, they've done it like Lapland, right?
Okay.
and it's like, and people just go there and donate. I mean, they've raised £70,000 for charity, right? But I would not want that electric bill.
Oh no, imagine.
And also, waking up yesterday, it was pretty damn chilly.
Yeah.
And I think then oh God, something's coming on.
Well, funny enough, we're going to Lapland with the kids on Thursday, so when this goes live, I will probably be in Lapland.
Ooh.
And I did look at the Good Morning Britain news weather forecast today.
Yeah.
And it was saying how ice and frost is descending in on England. So I looked at Finland.
Yeah.
-19. so it's going to be next level freezing. But it's going to be magical because the kids are going to love it.
Well, hang on. So you've got a 5-year-old, but haven't you also got like one who's under 1?
Yes. So we've had to buy a full-on ski rig house for a 1-year-old. So you have to buy a full-on ski mask for the 1-year-old because it is going to be sort of Baltic temperatures, really.
Is he aware at the moment of what's going on?
No. He's getting more. He's getting more sort of aware of stuff around him.
Yeah.
But in terms, if you told him what Santa was, he wouldn't know.
Because obviously, I think I told you, I took me and my ex-wife took our eldest daughter Lauren to Lapland when she was about 6, I think, and she absolutely loved it. I thought it was a great time, and then the youngest one went, but I didn't go on that one because we'd parted by then. So I wish I had gone, right? Because it's a great experience. So yeah, you're going to absolutely love it.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll bring out the big kid in you, even though you're meant to be dad, right? Well, you'll have your eldest looking at you going, "Hang on, Dad, this is for me."
I think completely. I think I've mentioned this to you before. You realise as you get a bit older, I'm approaching 40 now. As you get a little bit older and towards your middle of your life, you realise that there's no such thing as adults. You're just overgrown kids anyway.
That is yeah. And for all the women out there, yeah, it is true. We are just big kids, right?
It's true.
So so many women who are far more sensible than men, right? They are far more sensible. That's why they run the house pretty much, because it needs someone with a bit of adult behaviour. Yeah. Whereas we just sit there and go, I'm happy living in shit because you know what? I know where everything is. I know where my toys are.
Yeah, literally.
But whenever your wife, your girlfriend, or partner cleans up the house, you're like, I'm never going to find anything again.
100%. Yeah. And then you find it's like when you lose your bank card and then you order a new one, and then about 10 days later you'll find the old one stored somewhere.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
But right, well, that's going to be good, Steve. And then when you get back, it'll be like, oh, do you know what it is? It's my birthday.
Yeah.
Is it your 40th, you say? Or
39th. So 40 next year. So 2026 is going to be the year where the Common Sense Fails podcast becomes the #1 podcast in the UK. And that's a big statement, but I want it to happen.
Well,
if you can manifest it and you work hard enough, I feel like you can do it.
Well, we need to obviously get some more listeners. Now, a few little updates on stuff which might help with that, and also what I've been up to. Because I'm a lazy son of a gun, who for the past 2 years has done rock all, apart from speaking to a microphone now and again, and just play around with a few bits and pieces.
You've paid your dues, mate. You've paid your dues.
But
you've earned that.
But and I also keep the local coffee houses in business.
Oh yeah.
Because what I do when I'm kind of semi-retired is just pretty much go out and drink coffee and have sandwiches. But what's quite funny, and I don't mean to insult anybody here, but there's this one particular coffee house I go to in Hoylake. They're called. It's called 9 Leaves, right? There's a shout out to 9 Leaves. If you're listening, I want a coffee. No, just joking. But when I go there, Steve, right? I like to think I'm just a young kid at heart, right? I know I'm getting older, right? The body's telling me I'm getting older, but you don't like to acknowledge that, right? Yeah. So I sit there and go, I am still 19 in my head, right? So I'm still 19 with the hair and everything else, and I'm going, do you know what? I have my little swagger when I walk in, and it's full of women who are sort of 65, 70 and older, all grey-haired ladies who are lovely, right? But it does make me sit back and go, I'm the only real guy here, right? And I'm about 20 years younger than the majority of them. And I sit there and I go, oh, do you know what? I don't know. Hey, I'm not complaining because it's not like I'm looking for anything, if you know what I mean.
Well, funny enough, we went into Inspirations in Bromborough. Yeah. And Leaf and Vine coffee shop is in Inspirations, and I had the same sort of notion as I walked in there. I'm sure it must have been like a day out for the WI because it was literally about 20 women on a table who average age was probably 72. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, while we're on it, then we'll do a shout out to local coffee houses that we frequent, and the
WI,
and the WI. So all you women who are of that age, right? They could be potential listeners.
Totally.
If you see us going in the coffee shop, come and have a talk to us. But have you been to the Start Yard?
I have been to the Start Yard.
I love the Start Yard.
Yeah, Chris has been trying to get me to go to the Start Yard for many weeks now, and I'm going to go next week. So maybe we could have like a little friend date.
Well, what we need to do, we could do an OB for those out in the radio world. OB being outside broadcast.
Oh, lovely! Yeah, that'd be cool.
We could do a live OB in the start room.
That would be very, very cool.
And because they make the best bacon butties, the coffee's really good, and it's a real funky, trendy kind of environment.
Completely.
So I love that. But guess what? So because I don't do anything as such, I got myself a casual gig at Liverpool.
Yes,
you know about this. I've told you about this. So just
I don't know why it could not have been Everton, to be fair, but there you go.
Well, so everybody, if you don't already know, Steve's a big Everton fan and I'm a big Liverpool fan. But can I just say, as much as I love working at Liverpool and the staff are brilliant, and the other people that do what I do, I'm in the fan support team, right? Nice. Which is quite funny because I have to wear this big flag on my back, right, that says fan support. So I'm walking around like a walking billboard, and there's plenty of us, and you just talk to people about where you've got to go and this, that, and the other, and you've got to start like 5 hours before the the kickoff is. So you're just helping people, and I love it because I get to talk to people, and this, that, and the other. I absolutely love it, right? It's fantastic. But I will compare it, being a Liverpool fan, I'm going to compare it to putting a nice big cream cake in front of someone who's on a diet. Now, and the reason for that is, right, so I'm there 5 hours before kickoff.
Yeah.
I'm meeting all the fans, right, who are getting quite excited about the kickoff and everything else. And then I've got to show them what to do, where to go, help them out with any questions. And then whilst they're in there getting their seats and the match starts, which I'm hearing on the outside, because I have to stay outside for 20 minutes after the kickoff for late gates. I've then got to go in to the stadium to hand my pass back and basically bugger off. Right, so as a big fan, I'm sitting there going, so can I stay and watch the match? I went, no. I said, so I just stood outside for 5 hours helping everybody, and you won't even let me come in and watch the match. No, you've got to go. So I'm like, oh, I mean, so it would actually suit an Evertonian or someone else, because I was getting a little bit. When I started, like I say, I was all dead excited, thinking, this is going to be fantastic. Big Liverpool fan. Everyone's going to be a Liverpool fan. Absolutely not. So the girl that manages our team, she's like, yeah, I'm an Arsenal fan. What the hell? What do you mean you're an Arsenal fan? I don't care whether Liverpool. That's not the right attitude. And then I met someone else, Evertonians, and they're like, what is going on? But then it's quite funny because I got a message from, I also do, well, I say do, I'm on the books at the Academy as well. And they messaged me the other day saying, oh, we've got an extra shift, if you want it, at Man United. Oh, what? You're a Liverpool fan. You want to go and help round Man United? Yeah, because they're playing Everton. Right, stop right there.
Well, being at the new stadium now for Everton, I've noticed that the whole sort of approach to the club now has become a lot more Americanized. It's a lot more Super Bowl feel to it.
Really?
Yeah, even like the lighting. It's like
fireworks at the start.
It's not like I wouldn't say it's a firework display, but it's like a lighting display.
Okay.
So it feels like you're about to go into a concert before kickoff.
Do they still come out to Z cars?
They do, but it's more. So this is a common sense failure,
right?
So on the first game, the light show. So they're sponsored by Budweiser now, and Budweiser labels obviously red. Everton being blue, arch enemies are red, and around the stadium, they were basically making it was all just red lights going around on the first game. And it was Budweiser advert.
I was going to say, did he not read the script?
He didn't read the script. So after that, I think he changed to Bud Light, which is a blue bottle. But
I don't know if that's any better.
But there was like a lot of complaints that the whole lighting setup was red, even though it's a blue stadium.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that's a common sense failure, really. Whoever thought of that obviously the penny didn't drop with them.
Well, so listeners, I might actually go and see if I can get a gig at Everton as well.
Do it. I mean, the Hill Dickinson Stadium is fantastic.
Yeah.
It really does feel like a proper arena. I mean,
it's very impressive, I must admit. As a Liverpool fan, I am very jealous.
I did love Goodison Park, but it was very old-fashioned. It was a proper, traditionalist football ground, you would say. But it was way past its sell-by date.
Yeah, it was a bit old and knackered, but this new one now is just, I do think it's going to take it to the next, and it's going to attract better players.
Yeah.
Right? Jack Grealish has turned up, which I think is going to be your signing of the season.
From with my sort of marketing head on, I did read that just being in the stadium alone is going to equate to about £90 million a year extra revenue for the club, just being in the stadium. So, imagine ticket sales, the price of food in there is quite expensive.
Right.
The stadium opens 3 hours before kickoff. So people are literally not going to pubs anymore. They're going in the stadium to drink and eat before kickoff. They've got a fan zone.
Hang on, do they so in Liverpool, you can't get in, right? I think you can only get in 2 hours before kickoff.
So you can go into the stadium 3 hours before kickoff, but you can go into the fan zone 4 hours before kickoff.
Yeah,
So the fan zone outside is absolutely fantastic. I mean, shout out to Mr. Chow's in Parkgate. They have a big stand.
He's great.
I love Mr. Chow.
He's one of the best Chinese places to go.
Yeah, if if anyone's listening to this and you ever visit the world, definitely go to Parkgate Mr. Chow's Chinese restaurant. It is unbelievable. But what they've done now is they've set up basically remote vans selling.
So hang on, is this inside?
This is in the fan zone. So it's outside the stadium, but inside the fan zone.
Is fan zone covered?
No. No, it's not. That said, it hasn't been an issue so far because
it's not been,
the temperature hasn't dropped.
Yeah.
Saying that, the price of the food in the fan zone is
astronomical.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're looking at, without naming anything, but you're looking at like salt and pepper chips, for example.
Yeah.
It's £12.50. So essentially a tray of chips is £12.50.
So what?
Now I don't. I am a man who will pay for good food.
Yeah.
And I do not mind paying for good food when it's there. That said, £12.50 for a tray of chips. Come on.
Well, well, that's interesting because the fan zone at Anfield is open, 4 hours beforehand, and it's undercover. Right.
Oh, right, yeah.
And there's games and everything else that kids could go in and play and everything else. And only on certain games are you allowed, are both sets of fans allowed in.
Ah, yeah.
So if it was like a United game, it's not open to United fans.
Yeah. Well, what risk of trouble is that?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So every time we get briefed before every game, and you get told what the severity or the rating of the game is, and so for example, we've had Aston Villa, and they're like, you know what, it's a medium kind of game. We never really have much trouble with Aston Villa fans. And Madrid, you'd have thought, oh, you know what? But no, Madrid are great fans, right?
Yeah.
So it's but also they've got to learn the scout. I'm not that I'm a scouser, but it's just great having a bit of banter with them.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like I couldn't believe how big the away end is in the Hill Dickinson.
Really,
it's huge,
and they fill it. Most
of the teams fill it. Now, I don't know whether they give them like the bottom tier if it's like not a big fan base, and then they give them the top and bottom tier if it's a bigger fan base. Yeah. Like, for example, Liverpool would be a bigger fan base, so they might get the up and lower tier.
Okay.
But it's been, I mean, the atmosphere in there is unbelievable. Like from the away fans as well, to be fair. So we played Aston Villa the other week. We got beat by Tottenham the other week, but Tottenham were great. Villa fans were good.
You know what? They always do well, Tottenham. They always do well when they come to your place.
Yeah. I mean, our bogey,
they're crap at home, but
I mean, our bogey team is probably Liverpool, and we never really beat Liverpool. We never really beat Spurs, to be fair. So there you go.
I do see some of those memes that come out. Did you see the Everton ones where they're like, got the open top bus, and they're like, we won the second half cup. We won the most free kick cup.
Yeah. We won 1-1.
But no, I mean, I just love it. I love doing it. I mean, when the Madrid fans were in, it was great. I mean, and they're also good. They have a good laugh. They were asking me, a couple of them came over and they're like,
I would say, like, in terms of like fan trouble, like 95% of most fan bases are probably quite peaceful.
Yeah,
but you just get the odd. I think idiot who comes along and
these Madrid fans said, "Where did the away fans go?" And I went, "Barcelona." And he looked at me. It's like, eh? I don't know. I'm only joking.
Well, funny enough, I've actually in a previous lifetime I have been in the new camp in the away end. Not for Everton, but we went to Barcelona.
Not
for Everton, but we went to Barcelona for a weekend.
Okay.
Many years ago, and we went into the new camp and we went in the away end. It is so high up.
Isn't that scary?
Oh.
I went to the stadium tour there, and when I walked out, you go out and you're like at mid-level, aren't you? And then you look up to the to wherever it is, and you think, there must be people that die coming down there. If you've had a drink and you walk and you stumble, you are not stopping.
No. Well, it's funny, in the Hill Dickinson, at Goodison, you could walk along the aisle and the seats in front of you would go up to about your knee. So if you fell forward, your knees would essentially stop you from falling.
Okay.
In the Hill Dickinson, because it's steeper, the seats only go up to your ankle. So if you fall forward, there's nothing really stopping you.
Oh, did they let you take drinking and food?
They let you take food and drink up to your seat, but not alcohol.
Oh, okay.
So,
and all in plastic cups.
All in plastic cups.
Yeah.
I don't drink at the game anyway. I usually drive, but I did see that on the news they've had a bit of issues with transport links. Little Dickinson, so they're having to deal with that at the moment.
I mean, that's the only downside to that place.
Yeah.
Right? So there were some colleagues at Liverpool who also do Everton, right? And they say the stadium is phenomenal, right? It just sounds fantastic. But what they said was getting in and out.
Oh yeah, there's no easy way of doing it.
It's just horrendous.
I mean,
but I thought they were doing a train.
Yeah, well, from my house,
Yeah,
it goes from Bromborough to Hamilton Square to James Street to Sandhills.
Yeah.
So essentially, to get near to the stadium, it's 3 trains, all changing.
Yeah.
So that's not easy if you do that. I've done that. It's not easy, especially if you get home late and you're trying to get back home. I drove a few times and I've parked quite far out near to Goodison Park where I parked last time. Now, going down towards...
I was going to say, that's going down's not bad.
Going down towards the stadium is not bad. It's about 20 to 25 minute walk.
Yeah.
Coming back up, I mean, it's a bit of a lung buster, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because you're literally walking up a steep hill.
Yeah.
Well, 2 of them. And so that's not easy. So there's not really any easy way of doing it. And I do understand why people are getting frustrated, because that Dock Road on a match day is crazy. And then Box Studios, where I've done some work before, which is literally opposite the Hill Dickinson. The businesses in that building were meant to be getting permits to park, but that's almost impossible at the moment.
How far away is it from Costco?
Half a mile.
Oh, right, okay, that's not too bad. It's like a 15-minute walk.
Yeah, 15-minute walk. So where Costco is, you walk just straight up the road, about half a mile, you're there. So walking down from the city centre straight down to Bromley Moor is actually not too bad. That's probably the easiest way to do it. But it's I mean, I think the whole infrastructure within that part of the city is going to change over the next... Because there was talk at one point of them having like a tram system. From the
new station.
Yeah. Now, I know Man City have got that.
And what is, I need to ask the question, what is it like for tickets? Now it's a bigger stadium. Is it full all the time? Is it easy to get tickets?
I think, I actually read this, I actually know this. The average attendance has been about 52,000, and it's a 55,000 seat stadium. So there's been 2 games that have been sold out. 2 games of meaning that have been sold out. The friendlies got sold out.
Yeah.
And then 2 Premier League games have been sold out. All the rest have been tickets available. But I think the club are chopping the nose off to spite the face a little bit, in the sense that they're holding tickets back for day travellers.
Yeah.
And they've got a waiting list of season ticket holders. So they could sell them seats to season tickets, wannabe season ticket holders on a waiting list, but they don't, because they want the day.
Well, that's really right. Okay, so that's interesting, because I felt really bad the other day at the Villa game, and I was working a shift there, and this guy came up to me, and he had a foreign accent, and he said, and it was about 6 o'clock in the evening, right? So the kickoff was 8. It was about 6 o'clock, maybe a little bit later, and he said, what's the easiest way out, right, to get a bus? And I looked at it and went, you're going to be up against 60,000 people getting out in any one time. It might be a bit of a challenge, mate. He went, no. He said, for now. Like, what do you mean for now? He says, I says, where are you from? And he went, I'm from Austria. He says, I flew in this morning for the stadium tour, right? So he's just been on the Anfield Stadium tour. And he said, I thought I could get a ticket, right, by just turning up at the turnstiles and going, can I have a ticket for the match? He says, and they've said, so it's a sellout, right? I said, so you've come all the way from Austria, right?
Expecting to get a
ticket, and you're now at 6 o'clock on a Saturday evening having to get back to Manchester Airport to fly out.
Is that a common sense failure?
You know what that could be, right?
Yeah.
So, but
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt just for the fact that he's Austrian and he's travelled so far.
Well, maybe football out there is easier to get tickets for, but that was. But anyway, just to say, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and my work colleagues are fantastic. They've made me feel so welcome. So that's what I am doing.
Good.
Right, and then what else? What else have I been up to? I don't know. I feel like I've just had when you have one of those things where you just go, I'm just busy.
Yeah.
Busy. Right?
Yeah.
And you go, well, what have you done? You go, well, I don't really know.
Well, there's actually not a lot of spare hours in my life at the moment. So it's the same with the content room. We, like, for best part of 2 months, we were moving, getting work done, getting things set up. And there's still things in the room which me and you've talked about off camera and off the podcast where we still need to do inside the content room. In terms of sets, in terms of, you know, different little bits we've got to improve on. But with that said...
But with what you've been doing in here, Steve, again, just to let everybody know, I kind of call this Content Room 2.0, right? Because it is a million miles away from the box room that was Content Room 1.0, right?
Yeah.
And so you've put a lot of time and effort into it. It's absolutely fantastic, everybody. You need to go on and have a look on YouTube at some of the stuff, because you are now really ramping things up, right? You're now starting to see the effects of what you got here. So,
well, Content Room 1.0 was, I always tell this story. When we walked in to that content room, it was literally a white box room with a dog bed in the middle. And I've kind of, like, I'm not going to lie, I kind of winged it in the sense that, I just decorated it. I got my dad in, we decorated it, and then it was kind of like, just get it done. And for that year of that period of time, we built it up and built it up and built it up. And it served a purpose, I would say. But it wasn't until I invested all the money into the Content Room 2.0, where we are now, and I kind of took the financial risk, and I'm still taking the financial risk of what we've done, that it shows you the levels that it can get to.
But the thing is, I'd like to think it's now starting to pay off.
Well, yeah, I mean, getting people into the room now, it's been great. People are coming in, they're loving it. The setup is night and day compared to what we had. But that 1.0, like, I'm glad I've done that year.
Yeah.
I'm really glad, and I'm really grateful about that year, because with that year, it taught me a lot about the level that I was sort of operating at, and the level, the level that we're operating at now is, like, obviously night and day.
Well, I think, you know, people need to, hopefully, are listening to this, look at all the other content, look at you on socials, and also, you know, if they need to get in touch.
For all your social media needs and big ideas, get in touch with the guys at the Content Room UK. Find us on Facebook and Insta.
And what is your Insta?
You can find us at Steve Does Content, or at the Content Room UK. And also, shout out to Chris here, you can find us at Funky Bear Productions and at Safware.
Yeah, that will be coming soon. My advert will be coming in a little bit later.
I've been told in no uncertain terms by Chris that he is now part of the Content Room, and I'm fully embracing it. Just to give you a bit of a shout out on this, Chris, and this isn't me blowing smoke. This isn't a blowing smoke exercise by any means.
Yeah.
We've had some conversations over the last couple of weeks that you've given me some really honest critique and feedback, and I really, really appreciate it, because I've implemented that now, and it's made a huge difference. So for anyone listening to this podcast, we're actually recording audiobooks now. And
I think that's a potentially big step up.
It's a great niche.
Yeah.
It's a great niche to be in, and I'm really excited about it. But Chris gave me, like, a real cool customer service advice on bringing them in, coaching them, setting up the microphones, and that little touch that we've done really, really worked this week. So,
well, that's good to hear.
But that was down to your feedback, because I wouldn't have done that otherwise.
Right.
And that's the difference in the customer service we're providing. I talk to you all the time about 1%.
It's that 1%, 1%.
And I was listening to Stephen Bartlett, actually, and I was studying his sort of podcast setup, not the actual podcast themselves, but what he does behind the scenes, how he produces them, all this kind of stuff. And he is obsessed, and he always comes back to the 1% that nobody sees. Yeah. So when he does the podcast, it's just a podcast. He's just talking to someone. But all them little 1% that I've been obsessed with over time have led him to where he's at. So I'm taking that advice. So thank you for that, anyway.
Well, no, I mean, wherever I can help, Steve, you know that, right? Yeah, and it's, for me, the reward is seeing you grow.
Yeah. So now we've spent all the money. So now we've got no budget. We have to start making that money back now. So
yeah, but you know what? That will all come. But it's good to see, Steve.
what I've learned is, and this is a little bit of game for anyone who's starting a bit of a side hustle or a bit starting a business. Money follows value, not the other way around.
Yeah.
You got to offer the value first, and then you'll start generating more money because you're offering more value. So rather than focus on money creation, focus on value creation, and money will follow.
Right. So just whilst we're on this topic of finding that extra 1%. Oh, do you know what? Some people, when they listen to this, either go, God, those two guys know how to rabbit on. And there is a reason for that. And that is that we don't script anything.
We don't.
And the reason why I don't script stuff is, first off, it sounds a little bit kind of sterile and a bit kind of like boring. I'd like to think that this is not as boring as maybe it could be, right? But the second thing is, I like to spring things on Steve, because then I get his true reaction.
I think it's the best way of doing it.
So I never tell him what we're going to discuss, and this just flows through. So I didn't know we were going to be talking about Liverpool and Everton, right? It just flows, right? Yeah. So we've always tried to say that we cover all sorts of topics on this, and we just let the sort of conversation flow as to where it wants to go. But we do have a segment that we call the big question, today's big question. Where we will take a topic that has been in the news, and we will give it our spin, basically, right?
Yep.
So there might be an element of seriousness in there, but I'd like to think we could also add a little bit of fun into it as well. So we're going to jump into that now. So
let's go.
And now for today's big question.
And today's big question, well, I say it's not a big question. I really should change that now to Steve's choice of today's big question, because I'm going to give him a couple of options to want to talk about something, and he can pick that, and then we will go into just having a general chat about it. So your choices today, Stephen. Number one, the BBC.
Ooh.
And their treatment of Trump. Okay. Number two is AI.
Okay.
And is it a bubble?
Okay.
Okay. Because, what I'm reading that, companies are investing huge amounts in AI.
Yeah.
But is it just like, year 2000 stuff? Is it going to come crashing down around our ears? And there was going to be a third topic, but I'm not going to mention that yet. I just want to know, what of those two do you want to talk about?
Ooh, I'm actually quite interested in both topics. So I've gone down a bit of a rabbit hole with the Donald Trump thing. So yeah, we can dive into that.
Right.
I've got some theories around that.
Okay, so everybody, if you've listened to me in the past, I'll kick this off if that's all right, Steve.
Yeah.
So I have not been a massive fan of the BBC. All right, not since for about probably the last 5 or 6 years. And that's because I felt that they've got more and more of an agenda, okay, and to me it was like very much pro-trans, pro-left-wing kind of bias, right? Now I guess there's not a problem with that, right? Because there are lots of channels out there that do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But to me, I always viewed the BBC as an independent news resource.
Yeah.
And when you've got someone as big as the BBC pushing an agenda, then to me, that's wrong. They should be putting both sides of the story, and do that independently. And they were well respected around the world for that.
Yeah.
Now, so if you listen to previous podcasts, I've been ranting on about I don't trust the BBC, I don't trust Channel 4. I think they're very much the same. This kind of woke agenda, and I felt that a lot of people have just been going, no, you've got it all wrong.
Yeah.
And then, wow, what happened last week, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, it's like the walls are crumbling around the BBC, because, again, everybody for UK listeners, everybody in the UK has to have a license.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like it's a subscription service or whatever. Everybody's got to pay for the BBC.
If you watch the television, you need a TV license.
Or listen to the radio.
Yeah.
Right? And so I guess people get wound up because it's the state broadcaster, right? So we're all paying for it. We don't choose the BBC, right? And so a lot of people have been protesting by not paying the license and saying, I don't listen to the BBC and I'm not going to pay it. And that started to hurt the BBC because they're all, I mean, I've got a property in Wales which is empty. So I don't use the stuff there. I haven't paid my license. And they keep sending me threatening letters. And it's just like, oh, you know what? Stop it, BBC. I've told you I don't live there. The house is empty, so I'm not paying it. But anyway, what bombshell landed last week was that it was proven that Panorama, which again was a well-respected investigative news.
Well, it was the flagship documentary maker for the BBC.
God, yeah. And they were found out to have edited a speech by Donald Trump about the 2021 election, where he basically they've clipped it to make it sound like he was saying, "Let's go up to Capitol Hill and I will fight with you," and blah 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 blah. Now it transpires that they'd mashed together, two parts of his speech. The first part saying, "Let's go up to Capitol Hill," where he then goes on to say, "Where we will support our
military and
everyone else,
servicemen,"
but they cut it at that point, right, and said, "Let's go up to Capitol Hill," and then they snipped a bit in. That was actually an hour later.
Yeah, for sure.
That said, "And I will be there with you to fight till whatever," and what makes me laugh is so that's been exposed, right? And even my other half said, "Oh my God, I remember seeing that," and thinking initially, what a horrible bastard Trump is for saying that kind of stuff. So it did create this impression that he was inciting a riot, right? And when you look at that clip, you go, yeah, absolutely. But the people at the BBC, came out and went, okay, yeah, we'll hold our hands up. Yeah, that was it. It was a mistake. Now, I'm not being funny. That's not a mistake.
Yeah.
That's not accidentally cutting two bits together. Someone had done that, right, to create that impression.
Yeah.
Now it transpires that they did it somewhere else as well. And so the BBC then got threatened by Trump, didn't they, to be sued for $1 billion to $5 billion.
Yeah. And he said that they're not going to pay it.
Now, my view is and again, the problem that you have in the BBC is it's full of people that don't realise or don't share anyone else's thoughts but their own.
Yep.
Right? And so the problem with the BBC, I see it as a moment, is they think they're doing okay, and they can't look at themselves and go, well, what we did was wrong, right? So they came out defending it and went, you know what? And when you see the likes of people, I'm sorry, but I cannot stand them, Emily Matis, John Sopel, those people have such a left bias that they can't see anything else, right? And so if you criticise the BBC, they go for. I mean, I remember Emily Matis when Trump won the election, went off on one, right? She went off on one, swearing, everything else, and had a meltdown. And now you sit there, and you go, you do not expect that from your independent, right, so-called independent broadcaster, right? Because they're all just showing their true colours. Yeah. So go on, I'll let you have a say now.
I tend to agree on everything you've said, really. I mean, if you think back before this happened, BBC had a trust issue for the exact reasons that you mentioned. They were losing trust because they were seen as not impartial.
Yeah.
Now, I think podcasting has a lot to do with this. So we're in the podcasting space now.
Yeah.
But podcasting has a lot to do with this. Now, if me and you set up a right-wing podcast or a left-wing podcast, that's absolutely fine. So there's loads of left-wing podcasts out there that explicitly say, we are the left-wing podcast, we are the right-wing podcast, and everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Okay.
So that's part of free speech, right? You're allowed to set up your own podcast, your own platform, where you fight your corner. I get that. With the BBC, it's the taxpayer. It's on the taxpayer's pound note. So with that said, they cannot be seen not to be impartial. Now, that created a massive trust issue where it was something like 300,000 people across the country didn't pay the license fee. And YouTube Premium actually seen a massive spike in revenue from British people.
Right.
As a result. So people would rather pay 20 quid a month for YouTube Premium, whatever it is, than pay the license fee. Because people are listening to podcasts more, people are watching podcasts more. and you know, people said that Donald Trump won the election on podcasting, which I tend to agree with. He done the podcast circuit really well. With this though, you know, if you're trying to build trust with your audience, I mean, you're literally just shooting yourself in the face.
Well, I mean, just to defend the BBC, because again, I like to try and be, you know, impartial. To defend the BBC, I think the content that they do outside of news and current affairs is brilliant. You know, it's, you know, the Traitors series that they do, Gavin and Stacey, all that kind of stuff. The BBC can't be touched, right? I think, because I think their content is brilliant. It's just the news and current affairs, right? Because this stupid agenda that they seem to have. You know, every time if I watch the BBC News, I feel suicidal.
It stinks to me. I tend to agree with you about the content. I mean, some of the programming on TV is rubbish now generally.
Yeah.
But BBC is outstanding in that sense. But there is a trust issue there.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
comes to me about trust, and if the British public aren't trusting the flagship, you know, you're paying the likes for the BBC, you're not paying for anything else. You know, doing that, I mean, it stinks to me if someone who's young, lower down the ranks, has tried to do this and get away with it. I can't see anyone in, you know, the sort of director positions of the BBC being so stupid to let this. But how does it get from an editing room in the BBC through standards, through Panorama, through the directorship of the BBC? How does it get to air? Like, so surely someone at some point picks that up and goes, "We can't do that."
Well, so where do you stand though? Because do you think they do a good enough job of reporting on themselves?
No.
Because I was hearing the other day, and I've been hearing it now for quite a while, that Naga Munchetty, who's the breakfast presenter, is being investigated for bullying.
Yep.
But you don't hear that mentioned on the BBC.
No, but I guarantee if it was...
If it was Trump, if Trump was bullied...
I mean, if it was a... You know, I don't know whether this is part of it, but you hear this, and this isn't my view, it's just what you hear. If that was a middle-aged white man, it would be a different story.
Well, I heard something yesterday, right? And this isn't the BBC, so you can't blame the BBC for this. There are two instances over the last 2 days, right, where I've seen something and I've gone, hang on, how can they get away with saying that? So the first one was on I'm a Celebrity last night. On the I'm a Celebrity, the extra bits, and they had Alison Hammond on, right? You know who she is. Yeah. So Alison Hammond is a daytime presenter.
Fun fact: I once seen Alison Hammond in Nando's in Bromborough.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Alison Hammond, she's a lovely woman, and she's normally presenting the daytime show on ITV, and they're asking her about the contestants in I'm a Celebrity, of which she said Lisa, whatever her name is, who's the girl off Emmerdale, right? She says, "Oh yeah, she's like my white sister. Yeah, we'd get on because she's like my white sister." Now, I kind of went, "Oh, hang on for a second, right? If that was the other way around, and she'd gone, Alison Hammond's like my black sister, I'm sure there would have been outrage."
Yeah, there would have, yeah.
Right? So that was my first one. And then the second one was, God, I'm admitting my TV habits here. The other one was...
You passed us to a bit of reality TV.
So it was, I can't remember her name, Jane McDonald, I think.
Yeah.
Right? You know who she is?
Yeah, the
cabaret
singer, yeah.
So she was on she's got this great gig at the moment where she basically gets filmed in holiday spots and she's telling you what it's all about. And she was in Japan. Or was it Japan? Maybe not. No, she was in the Caribbean or somewhere. No, it was Africa. She was in this island in Africa, and she sits there, and she said this a few times, but the example I'm going to quote now is she went on the beach where there was a lot of guys flexing their muscles, right, with their tops off, and she made a comment about, "Ooh, I don't mind the view here." she says, and then she makes another kind of like little, bit of banter about, oh, do you know what? I'll come down the beach just to look at that view. And again, I kind of sat there and went, how could she get away with that, right? Because I know if I went on TV and there was a load of bikini-clad women and I went, you know what? I'll come down to the beach just to look at what's going on there. Yep. What a view, right?
Yep.
I'd be hauled out. What's his name? Off. I was going to say Bake Off, but it wasn't. It was MasterChef. He makes dodgy comments.
Oh, yeah.
And he
Greg
gets pulled up
Wallace.
for it. But if it's a woman who says it, it's all a bit of kind of, it's just, So I do think there's sometimes, and again, we can end up going that kind of rabbit hole. But going back to the Trump thing, again,
there's definitely a double standard, because if that was, would it have happened if it was the Democratic leader? If it was Joe Biden, if it was Barack Obama,
absolutely not.
Definitely would not would have happened.
Because the other thing that Trump's been pulled up against for is knocking down part of the White House.
Yeah.
Right. And everyone's going. Even my other half the other day said, "Oh my God, that's disgusting." He's such an egomaniac. He's building this ballroom. It's going to be called the Dollar. I'm like, do you know what? I really don't have a problem with it because, and I'll tell you why. He's an egomaniac, you know that, right? So you expect him to name it the Donald Trump Ballroom, right? I don't have a problem with that. But I sat there and I says, what they're not showing you is what they currently have.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you mean? I says, there's a massive tent outside, right? Because there's no room in the White House. So when he's got all these state leaders coming over from around the world, right? And they're glamorous women and blah, 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 blah. He has to take them across the lawn of the White House, right, walking over the grass to this tent, right, where they then hold these state banquets or whatever it might be. And I'm not being funny, right, but that shouldn't be the President of the United States saying, here you go. So he's gone, I'm going to knock down this wing, or whatever it might be, of this old building, and we're going to put something new up. Now,
How old is the White House? Do you know?
120, 130.
So logic says, maybe this is a common sense failure of my part, I don't know. Surely logic says that after 120 years, there might be a little bit of refurbishment work needed.
Well, and I was going to come to that because I said, right, they're picking on it and making a big thing out of it because it's probably Trump, right? Because when you go back in history and see what other presidents have done, right, they've all made changes, a lot of them. They've all made changes and enhancements to the White House. But they seem to find anything, right, and they'll have a go.
Well, this is the thing. The same thing happened with Barack Obama. So they call him deporter-in-chief because he deported 3 million illegal immigrants from America. Donald Trump's not deported anywhere near that, but he's built the wall. But he's the one that gets called out on it for all this immigration stuff because he's cruel and he's setting up, he's being cruel to families and everything. Whereas Barack Obama did a lot worse, but he never gets, he's made out like a saint, basically. So there's definitely double standards all around. And on both sides as well.
That's what I mean. And it's tough, I think, now to actually get an independent view.
Yeah, I think so. And just to add to that, I would say the answer to all this is usually somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So politically, whether you're extreme right, extreme whatever, the answer is usually somewhere in the middle. Usually.
Yeah.
I mean, elections are won basically in the centre ground all the time. In my view, anyway.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and again, I think this whole thing, this whole rhetoric around hate speech. Yeah. Right. And I don't mean, I mean, it's just nasty work. So especially in America, there seems to be this political thing that people just insult others, and so I'm not surprised there's the rise of people being nutters. I mean, I heard something yesterday, and I don't know the huge amount of detail, but I was a bit surprised. I was listening to the radio, and I don't know the police force. It might be Northampton Police. I'm sorry if I've got that wrong. I can't remember. But basically, there was this couple who, on a private WhatsApp group,
I've seen this,
of other parents of this school, they made a comment which was something along the lines of, they are control freaks or something like that, right? Next minute, the school report to the police that they're getting a lot of hatred, right, and hate speech. So the police knock on their door back in January.
With 6 armed policemen, armed.
Yeah, and basically, their initial thought was, "Oh my God, our daughter's been killed." But no, they got arrested, right, because of this hate speech,
Yeah.
right? And now it transpires that the police have gone, we shouldn't have arrested you. We're really sorry. Here's £20,000 compensation.
Yeah.
Now, how can the police, right, do? I mean, this is another trust issue.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
What is going on in this country?
So, for context on this, I was watching this unfold on Good Morning Britain yesterday.
Okay.
So they made a comment that says the control freaks because they got fined for taking the kids out of school in term time to go on holiday.
Okay.
Now, it was again, correct me if I'm wrong here, like for anyone listening or watching, correct me if I'm wrong. It was something like they were going to Centre Parks for a long week, for a week or, a long weekend.
Yeah.
And they had to take the kids out of school for a couple of days. And the price of the Centre Parks trip was £699 for the family. But if they went in the next week when it was half term, it went up to sort of £1,400.
Oh my God.
Literally doubled in price.
Yeah.
So logic says, for a couple of days off school and saving £700, we'll just take them for the £700.
Yeah.
And he said they got fined for it, and as a result, he said they were control freaks.
Yeah.
And then got 6 armed policemen, literally knocking at the door. And yeah, they got paid £20,000 in compensation. But if that's the best use of police time, that to me is utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's utterly ridiculous. I mean, how has it come to be that this is even a situation in the country?
Yeah.
I don't understand the logic. I mean, surely the police have better things to be doing than, following up WhatsApp messages from a parent WhatsApp group. Surely. And I mean, this rings true with me a little bit because I've got certain issues myself with the schooling system, in the sense that, not with the schooling system itself and the education system, but more with, getting fined for taking your kids out of school for a few days is, to me, I don't understand the logic of that. But also, they're happy to take kids out for inset days and teacher training days.
Oh my! Don't get me started on that.
But they're not happy for us to take a kid out to save £700 on a long week away with the family.
Yeah, and again, I'll get shot down for this, but yeah, the teachers who have 6 weeks off, and then on the first day back go, we're having a teacher training day.
Yeah.
So your kids don't need to turn up for school. You're like, what?
I mean, it was called a Baker Day years ago, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Anyway.
To get in touch, leave us a WhatsApp voice note on +44 7503 061 799. That's +44 7503 061 799. Or text us on the same number.
Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Oh yeah.
Because we're coming to the end.
It's an interesting topic. I mean, surely common sense will prevail in the end.
Kind of, you'd like to think so.
Yeah.
But I never know. Right, Steve, we're coming to the end. We've been recording for quite a while.
Yes, we have.
So any other things? We just a quickie, name of the podcast is Where Common Sense Fails. Any common sense failures?
Common sense failures.
That's happened to you the last week or two.
Not on my part, but in the content room, you won't be able to see this on the video if you're watching this. But behind the set, we put blackout sort of paper on the windows just as a stopgap between getting the blinds put up. So the handyman who comes into the office once a month, where we can basically request jobs to get done.
Yeah.
I put the blinds on the to-do list for the handyman. Downstairs at reception, decided to change the codes for the locks on the doors. So when he came in on Sunday, he didn't have any of the codes for the locks on the doors and couldn't get in to do the jobs. So now we have to wait till the handyman comes back to get them done again. I don't want to take the risk of doing it myself, just because I don't want to butcher the walls.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was slightly annoying at the weekend. I don't know if that was. I think it was a common sense failure on the part of the receptionist who didn't give them new codes to the doors.
Okay.
That's about as exciting as it gets, really.
Well, I guess mine, I'm not sure if you can call it a common sense failure, but I'm on the transplant list.
Yes.
So for a new kidney, anybody out there? Anyway,
anyone out there fancy donating a kidney to the Funky Bear Productions?
I went to see the surgeon or the consultant last week in the Royal Liverpool, and he's a lovely bloke. And he sits me down. He goes, "You know what, Chris?" He said, "You've been on the waiting list now longer than the average for Liverpool." Right? So I went, "Okay." He said, "But you're not getting noticed." Right? So I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well," he says, "so you've been on it now nearly 2 years, and I'm trying to look after myself because I don't want to go on dialysis and everything else. So I've managed to stay off dialysis by just making sure I'm kind of eating healthily and looking after myself. But that's working against me, right? Because whilst I'm not on dialysis, I'm not popping up on the transplant list as an urgent case, right? So the more I look after myself, the less I'm going to get a kidney. I need a kidney, right? And so I said, "So are you telling me I've got to get worse before I get better?" And he's pretty much going, yeah. And so you sit there, and it all comes down to money, because apparently, if I go on dialysis, I cost the NHS something like £56,000 a year. Whereas if I have a kidney transplant, it's a one-off fee of like 26,000, right? So and whilst I'm not even having that done, I'm just whatever tablets.
A number on a spreadsheet, basically.
And that's pretty much it. So it's not a common sense failure as such, but the more I'm looking after myself, I don't get rewarded by going, "Okay, so we'll give you a kidney."
Am I right in thinking? And I'm not a history buff like this, but am I right in thinking that when the NHS was set up originally, back in the 50s, I think, was it a case where people could basically get prevention rather than a cure, and over time, with big pharmaceutical companies coming in, it become more of a cure-based service rather than a prevention-based service?
Yeah.
So you would think that you are looking at keeping people healthier generally over time.
Yeah.
So I think that is a common sense failure on the part of the NHS, but again, doesn't surprise me, to be honest.
Oh, so we are where we are on that. But anyway, so look, it's been a great hour. This should be coming out on Saturday.
Is that how long we've done? An hour?
Something like that. I can't remember. We should have a big clock that tells us how long we've been going for. We'll talk for hours.
Literally, the conversations me and Chris have, our average conversation was probably 2 hours off camera, so we could probably do a lot longer than this, to be fair.
This is why I'm good at fan support, because I literally talk to anybody. So look, everybody, thanks for listening. We will be back again next week.
Yes. So we are aiming to do every single week. We are going to record every single week. And you can expect a lot more from the Where Common Sense Fails podcast, because we are on a two-man mission to make this a household podcast. Yeah, so like the jingle said, get in touch, drop us a WhatsApp, and let's see what we can take this to. Yeah, so if you're listening on as a bit of a call to action, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever platform you're streaming it from, hit subscribe. Like our stuff, comments, give us feedback. Where can we improve? What would you like to see? If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, like, share with all your friends you might find it valuable. And we appreciate all the support. And if anybody wants to come on the podcast, again, let us know. We are looking to get guests on. We want people in the room. Very quick as a teaser, it's nothing promising, but I've mentioned it a few times now. Yeah. I'm hoping to get Nasha. From Frankie Goes to Hollywood on. Yeah. So I know someone who knows him. I like a bit of 80s. That's me through and through. Right, see you everyone. Bye. So long. Farewell.